Paul Farbrace, it's an excellent win against Hampshire side who are in decent form. You've beaten them away from home in 7 sessions. Inside 7 sessions, actually.
Yeah, look, I said to you a couple of weeks ago, winning away from home was the next thing that we had to do as a team in this division. We know that we have a pretty good record at Hove. It's a very good record at Hove. But to come here and win against a very good Hampshire team when we weren't necessarily able to put out what others might see as our best 11. You lose Ollie Robinson and Dan Hughes, two not only high-skilled cricketers but also very experienced cricketers. And I said to the lads before the game, it doesn't matter who we have in our team, and I'm sure there are members and supporters that follow the team and follow the club that might question one or two people that play, but that's always the thing with selection, is it? I mean, you decide and you divide. You pick a team and you divide opinion. We all think we can pick better teams, and regardless of the teams that you follow, there's one or two in our team that have struggled for a bit of form. Tom Clark is one that he has struggled for form, but Tom Clark's catching at slip is unbelievable. And when you catch as well as he does, you keep him in the team, even if he's not scoring the runs that you want him to score and he wants to score, because of the fine lines and his contribution in this game with his catching, particularly off Croaks, when Croaks broke the game open for us on the first day. They're the difference between bowling a team out for 140 odd and bowling them out for 200, which is, that was the thing at Taunton. The Taunton disappointment was that we didn't value runs in the first innings as much as we could have done, both with bat and ball, and we dropped important catches. And that was the difference. That was a 200-run swing in that game. So to bounce back here on a tough pitch at times, it obviously it's worked brilliantly for us that the ball spun. Obviously I think that's the best Carson has bowled for us on a spinning pitch. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. But I just said to those, I think that's the best win we've had as a team since I've been at the club.
I was just going to say that.
I genuinely think it's the best win we've had. And the win against Durham, the first game that I was at Hove, was a really important win, because I came in banging on about winning, and we win the first game and people suddenly think, well, actually might be something in this. But actually, this win away from home against, their attack is a top quality bowling attack. You look at their 4 seamers, and then you put Dorse into that as well. He's off to play for England this week. Dorse is a high quality cricketer. He showed that throughout the whole game. He's so passionate to win the game for Hampshire. When he plays for England next week, he'll be passionate to win the game for England. So his high level of skill on a pitch that's spinning, that's a very, very good win for us. And as I say, we're perhaps a couple short of our main 11. But the great thing is that when Croaks has come into the team to replace Oliver and bowled brilliantly. His first game back has been sensational. Carter's come in. He hasn't got the runs, but the way that he's shaped up, and it's hard. He's gone from second team cricket to first team cricket on a pitch that's doing a little bit against a high quality bowling attack. That's a lot to ask of him. So he'll need a few innings, and that's why I stick with people. That's why maybe there are one or two that are calling for maybe Clarkie to be dropped or others to be dropped. But I stick with them people because I genuinely think it's having identified them as the players you want, and you want to build teams around them. You give them as much opportunity as you can. Now we've got a month now before the next game, and there's one or two of them that might not play in that next game. But the great thing is we've got a nucleus of a group that we know we can rely on. People keep putting their hands up, and the phrase that I've talked a lot about is, what does the team need from me now in this situation? And all the way through this game, people have put their hand up, and Finn Hudson Prentice innings with Simo, that's Simo's best innings he's had with us. He scored a lot of runs for us, but that's the best innings he's played by a mile, I think.
We've always run out of superlatives for John Simpson. He's been tremendous, but he needed someone to bat with, and he got that in Finn Hudson Prentice. He made runs at Somerset last week. He seems to be bowling well. He's really filling that all-rounder berth now, Paul.
He is. I think Finn this year has bowled beautifully. I've really been impressed. He looks like he's going to take wickets all the time. He looks like he's found a right pace for him. His accuracy is really, really good. His consistency is outstanding. But his batting, how this bloke hasn't got 25 first-class hundreds, I'll never know. He's got to be one of the best players I've ever seen who's never got a first-class 100. But I keep saying to him, they're going to be like London buses. He's going to get one, and then 2 or 3 will come along at once. But the way he played, I thought the way that he played Dorse on the spinning pitch was magnificent. It really was high quality. But he spoke yesterday. Finn yesterday morning spoke to the lads about how he thought you needed to play on that pitch, and went out and did it and played exactly how he talked about playing. And then when he came off, he said it gave him ownership. It gave him a sense of responsibility, because he told the lads how he was going to play, and he felt he had to stick to that. And that's a sign that I think this is where this team is just continually improving and getting better. I keep saying to you, they're a very honest team. You know, we don't get too carried away that we're winning. We're starting to expect to win, and that's the word I've used a lot. We are starting to expect to win, so we're not getting carried about there. Like we didn't have, you know, lots of post-mortems after the game at Taunton or Nottingham. We talked very calmly, very rationally about the areas we need to improve on. And one of the things we talked about a lot about leading into this game was the value of runs in the first innings and not waiting almost till you're behind the 8 ball before you start to value runs. And that's where I've been so pleased with how they performed in this game.
Can we talk about T20?
Yes,
because we're now out of Championship for a few weeks now into T20. How are preparations going? What are your thoughts looking ahead to the competition?
Yeah, look, I think we're excited by it. You know, we found a formula for playing at Hove, which was important, not only for us to win games, but also to get people in to watch the games. You know, at the end of my first year, you know, ticket sales weren't great. For the second year, and there was a sort of a thought that, you know, well, you only win once at home the previous year, people won't come and watch. Last year we had some fantastic games, you know, last ball thriller against Gloucester, you know, beat Lancs in the home quarter final, which made a significant difference financially to the club as well. But to have a home quarter final and win that, and for the supporters and people that come and watch T20 to go away thinking, actually, this lot can play, you know, and I think we've got a very good team. You know, Millsy last year, outstanding as captain. You know, he really was outstanding as captain, and I think we've got the nucleus of a very, very good team. Obviously, we've signed George Thomas, who we expect to be there or thereabouts in terms of starting 11. But players have got better. They've worked hard again over the winter, and I think it's a brilliant opportunity for players now to go and show their skills. And you know, trying to pick the 11. We've been talking about it a lot for the last few weeks, and we've got 15 or 16 names, but we haven't. It's not a case of thinking, well, we've got 9. Who's going to be in our 11? It's actually we've got 15 or 16. And any of them can play and make us a very good team, and that's still leaving out 1 or 2 very, very good players. So, you know, I just think it's a really exciting opportunity, but it's lovely going into it having won your last Championship game. You know, and that's similar to last year. We went into the T20 having won our last Championship game. We then won the Championship games during the T20, so you keep that momentum going, even though it's, you know, 2 different captains and 2 different colours of ball. The momentum's really important for us as a group of players who are trying to learn and keep getting better and improving.
Where are you in terms of Ollie missed this game, we understand, with a bit of a niggle, and what about Daniel as well? Yeah,
so Daniel, I don't think you'd mind me saying that him and his partner welcomed a baby 2 days ago, which was lovely.
Oh, wonderful.
Little Lily was born 2 nights ago, which was fantastic, and that's why, you know, it's hard enough for any family when you're expecting, you know, your first child, but to be, you know, the other side of the world literally for the 2 of them. You know, Maddie, his partner, you know, would have been at home this week, and, you know, it was tough for him being in Taunton last week. You could tell he was fretting about it, and it was the right decision for him to stay at home and not be with us this week. So, you know, they've had their baby, which is absolutely lovely. So, you know, we expect him to be available to play at Lords on Thursday, and Oliver, he rested this week when he probably could have played, but we took the decision out of his hands and said, look, we're going to take you out of it. You know, we want you to play more Championship cricket as the season unfolds, and obviously we've got the T20, which he was outstanding in last year. So, you know, we want him to be ready for, hopefully, for the game at Lords on Thursday as well.